In yesterday's video, I warned that Donald Trump was cooking the books. The statistics on jobs numbers and growth and GDP were not to be trusted, as Trump was basically funneling all this data through the White House. Everything had to go through him. Well, here's confirmation that our assumptions were right, as today Trump has fired the federal government official in charge of labor statistics just hours after data revealed jobs growth stalled this summer, prompting accusations that he is firing the messenger. It's actually more serious than this, because what is the alternative to people working independently producing jobs numbers and then losing their job? The alternative is Donald Trump deciding how many people are unemployed versus employed. Yes, Trump claimed that Erika McEntarfer, Commissioner of Labor Statistics, had faked employment figures in the run-up to last year's election in an effort to boost Kamala Harris's chances of victory. Trump later claimed today's job numbers were rigged in order to make the Republicans and me look bad. Well, he seems to be doing a rather good job of that all by himself. He produced no evidence for these allegations. He insisted the US economy was in fact booming on his watch. But the employment figures today have told a very different story and raised questions about the state of the labor market since Trump's return to office. Going to war with our allies over trade has meant the US has added just 73,000 jobs in July, amid pressure from the economic turmoil that the world is seeing and, of course, America sees as consumers start paying for Trump's tariffs. As leaders of more than 60 countries have been plunged into a fresh race to secure trade deals with the US after Trump unleashed global chaos with these new tariff rates that he just randomly selects because of this vibe, this whim, based upon how he feels other countries have treated the US. You couldn't make this stuff up. The stock market fell on both sides of the Atlantic after earlier falls in Asia as investors' fears about the impact on the global economy start to take a hold. Europe's Stoxx 600 was down nearly 2%. The UK's FTSE 100 share index was down 0.8%. Wall Street closed lower, with the Dow Jones, S&P 500 down over 1% and Nasdaq down more than 2%. The sell-off exacerbated by these jobs numbers. Trump's reaction, not "I must try harder next month." No, just fire the statistician. Blame her. In reality, Americans are struggling financially, grappling with debt and the rising cost of living, and most are blaming the Trump regime and corporate interests for worsening economic outlooks for working families. The new poll conducted by Morning Consult for the Century Foundation asked 2007 Americans how they are managing the high cost of living amongst the US economy and who they think is to blame for these problems. Well, 6 out of 10 Americans place the blame on Donald Trump and his administration for driving up the cost of living. 63% said Trump had a negative effect on grocery prices, and 61% said that he had a negative impact on the cost of living. Nearly 8 out of 10 Americans, including 70% of Republicans, fear that Trump's tariffs will increase the price of everyday goods. The only person that doesn't seem to think that is Donald Trump. Nobody seems to want to be the one to tell him that Americans are paying for these tariffs. Trump's been obsessed with tariffs for decades. It's the only thing he knows. This is his mechanism for growing the US economy, and yet it is flawed. So what does that mean for America's finances over the next year to 5 years? Economists are predicting recession. I just want to interrupt myself for a moment to ask you to support me and independent journalism by becoming an exclusive member of this YouTube channel to receive members-only content, early access to most of my videos, regular live-streamed Q&As with me, and much more. It costs just $3 a month for membership, which goes towards helping me grow the channel and create factual, accurate news commentary for those who need it the most. Right now, the failures of corporate-owned media has made finding authentic news coverage in the US difficult. There is hope. I'll do my best to put this honest analysis out every day, but I really need your help to do that. Simply click Join directly below, or click the Join link in the description to join the 5 Minute News YouTube channel. If you already have a Patreon account and you would like to support me there, please do so at patreon.com/5minutenews. Thank you. And if the news couldn't get any weirder today, Trump has redeployed nuclear submarines after the former Russian president posts a menacing tweet. Like, this is how we seem to be doing international relations these days on Twitter. Again, completely random, completely insane, and a decision not based in reality. We also have Epstein's co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, transferred to a lower security prison in Texas. I wonder why. One of the most prolific sex traffickers of girls and boys in history, and now that Donald Trump is in office, the criminals all stick together. So she's getting an easier ride despite serving her 20-year sentence. And again, thanks to Trump, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting announced today it will shut operations after losing federal funding, delivering a blow to America's public media system and the more than 1,500 local stations that have relied on its support for nearly 6 decades. The closure follows the Republican-controlled House's decision last month to eliminate $1.1 billion in CPB funding over 2 years, part of a $9 billion reduction to public media and foreign aid programs. The 57-year-old corporation distributed more than $500 million annually to PBS, NPR, and 1,500 local stations nationwide. Despite the federal support, stations mostly rely on viewer donations, corporate sponsorships, and local government support for the remainder. So fingers crossed PBS and NPR will be able to continue, but undoubtedly with a much smaller operation. And so every day in America is like a soap opera. Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, has announced that he may call special elections to redraw California congressional maps. This is responding to the Republicans doing their redistricting in Texas. The voting system as it stands is flawed, and redrawing maps is something that Republicans have been doing to keep their majority in the House of Representatives. Trump is pushing Texas and other Republican-dominated states to carry out mid-decade redistricting that will favor the GOP and potentially stop Democrats from retaking control of the House in next year's midterm elections. I mean, seriously, can you imagine Republicans conceding elections, considering their state of mind right now, considering their allegiance to Donald Trump? Imagine Donald Trump conceding the election in 2028 as president and willingly leaving the White House. These things are pipe dreams, and that's why it's important that everybody engages with politics and tries, even though it's hard, not to disassociate from this attack on American democracy. I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with Midas Touch.